The morning sun poured through the blinds, painting warm stripes across the kitchen floor. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air, and the soft hum of the dishwasher played in the background. Sarah flipped pancakes at the stove, humming along to the radio. It was just another normal Thursday. Mark, her husband of 20 years, walked into the kitchen dressed in his usual navy suit. He kissed her cheek like always, quick, robotic, without warmth, and grabbed his coffee to go. "See you tonight," he said, eyes glued to his phone. Sarah smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Something had been off for months. Mark was always working late, and his phone never left his hand. When she reached for him at night, he turned away. Her instincts whispered what her heart wasn't ready to hear. Later that afternoon, while gathering laundry, Sarah reached into the pocket of Mark's suit jacket. A crumpled receipt fluttered to the ground. She bent down and picked it up. A hotel bar, 2 drinks, a bottle of wine, a lipstick stain on the edge. Her heart stopped. She stared at the paper for a long time, as if looking hard enough would change what she saw. Didn't. This wasn't the first time she had found something suspicious, but it was the first time she couldn't ignore it. She walked to the bathroom and stared at herself in the mirror. Her reflection looked tired, hollow. 20 years. 1 son. Thousands of nights spent believing this man was her forever. But now he was someone she didn't recognize. She tucked the receipt into the back of her journal, her hands shaking. She didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she sat at her desk, opened her laptop, and began searching. Signs of infidelity. How to catch a cheating spouse without them knowing. Sarah wasn't the naive girl she used to be. She had grown quiet, strong, and smart. If Mark was hiding something, she would find it. That night, Mark came home late again. His tie was loose, his hair messy, and he smelled like cologne that wasn't his. "Work ran long," he muttered, avoiding eye contact. Sarah nodded, pretending to believe him. "Want me to reheat dinner?" He waved her off. Too tired. She watched him disappear into the bedroom, a plan already forming in her mind. The next few days, Sarah acted normal. She cooked, cleaned, smiled at the neighbors. But inside, a storm was brewing. She began checking his car for clues. She followed his credit card statements. Every night, after he went to bed, she took notes in a locked journal labeled grocery list. And then, she found it. A second phone, hidden in a shoebox in the back of his closet. It wasn't locked. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through the messages. "Kayla." The name jumped out again and again. "Can't wait to see you tonight. You're not like her. She'll never know." Sarah slammed the phone shut. Her breath caught in her throat. Her vision blurred with rage. Kayla, his secretary. The girl with the red nails and fake laugh. She was barely older than their son. How long? How dare he? Still, she didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she waited. Friday night, Mark said he was attending a client dinner. Sarah smiled sweetly and kissed his cheek goodbye. Have fun. The moment he pulled out of the driveway, she followed him. Heart pounding, hands gripping the steering wheel, she stayed 3 cars behind. She knew every back road in town. And when Mark turned into the parking lot of the Willow Hotel, her stomach dropped. He wasn't hiding it anymore. She parked across the street, pulled her hoodie up, and watched. 15 minutes later, a red car pulled up. Out stepped Kayla. Tall, thin, glowing in a short black dress and heels too high for comfort. Sarah's breath hitched. Mark stepped out of the hotel and wrapped his arms around her. Then he kissed her. Right there. In public. No shame. No regret. Sarah stared through the windshield, frozen. She could almost hear her heart breaking, like glass under pressure. So this was it. 20 years meant nothing to him. The birthdays, the hospital visits, the shared secrets, the long nights holding hands when they thought they'd lose their house. It was all just a chapter he was ready to close. But Sarah wasn't done. She took a photo with her phone. One. Then another. Calm, precise. She would need these later. Then she whispered to herself, "Game on." The next morning, Sarah's hands shook as she placed Mark's coffee on the kitchen counter. She didn't sleep at all. The image of him kissing Kayla kept replaying like a broken record in her mind. But she wouldn't scream. Not yet. She had a better plan. Mark strolled in, humming like nothing had happened. Like the night before didn't exist. He kissed her cheek and grabbed the coffee. "How was your meeting?" Sarah asked casually. "Fine. Long," he mumbled. Sarah forced a smile. "With clients?" "Of course." She tilted her head. "Anyone I know?" Mark paused. His eyes flicked up, just for a second. "No." "Why?" Sarah reached into the drawer and pulled out the crumpled hotel receipt. The one with the lipstick stain. She held it up silently. The smile dropped from his face. "What is this?" she asked, keeping her voice even. Mark took the paper from her hand, glanced at it, then chuckled. "Oh, come on, Sarah. Really? You were at the Willow Hotel. With Kayla." Mark rolled his eyes and set the coffee down. "This is ridiculous." Sarah blinked. "I have photos." "Jesus, Sarah. Are you stalking me now?" Her chest tightened. "I followed you once. After 20 years, I deserved the truth." Mark shook his head like she was some pitiful little child. "You're being paranoid and emotional. Kayla and I were going over reports. You always blow things out of proportion." The words hit like a slap. Paranoid. Emotional. Overreacting. He made her the villain. She stared at him, searching for any sign of guilt. There was none. His face was blank, cold, even like she was the problem for asking questions. Something in her broke. Quietly, not with screams, but with silence. She nodded slowly. "Maybe you're right." He smirked, taking it as a win. "I'm heading to the office. Try not to work yourself up. Okay?" He walked out, leaving a silence so thick it wrapped around her like a noose. Sarah sat down at the kitchen table and opened her journal. She flipped past her grocery lists and handwritten affirmations and scribbled 4 words. "He's gonna ruin me, but not if she moved first." She picked up her phone and opened the voice recorder app. From now on, every conversation would be documented. Every lie, every threat, every subtle jab. She downloaded an app that recorded calls silently. She even placed a tiny camera, hidden in an old book, on a shelf in their bedroom. She wasn't just going to catch him cheating. She was going to protect herself legally. Because she realized something terrifying. He didn't just want out. He wanted to destroy her on the way out. That afternoon, she drove to a bank 2 towns away and opened a new account under her maiden name. She deposited $3,000 from her emergency cash stash, just enough to cover legal fees, a new phone, and whatever else she might need to escape. Next, she found a lawyer. Not one of those billboard divorce guys, but a quiet, sharp woman named Elaine, who had helped a friend during a custody battle. Elaine didn't flinch when Sarah told her everything. About the cheating, the gaslighting, the secret phone. "He's trying to get ahead of you," Elaine said, fingers steepled under her chin. "Has he mentioned filing for divorce?" Sarah shook her head. "Not yet." Elaine leaned in. "Then you'd better move fast. Because if he files first and claims infidelity or emotional instability, you could walk away with nothing." Sarah's stomach turned. Nothing? No house, no savings, possibly no custody. It happens all the time. The spouse who plays calm usually wins. Sarah nodded slowly, her throat dry. "Then we beat him at his own game." Elaine smiled. "Exactly." Over the next week, Sarah played the perfect wife. She cooked Mark's favorite meals. She massaged his shoulders when he complained about stress at work. She even suggested they take a weekend trip, and Mark actually smiled for the first time in weeks. But behind the scenes, she printed financial statements. took photos of deeds, insurance papers, and retirement accounts. She even found a burner phone and started texting Mark as Amanda, pretending to be a new secretary flirting with him, and he fell for it, fast. By Friday, Sarah had enough evidence to build a fortress. But something told her it wasn't enough. Not yet. That night, while Mark showered, Sarah snuck into his office to grab more documents. She pulled open the bottom drawer of his locked cabinet. It took 3 tries to pick it with a bobby pin, and found a file labeled separation plan. Her heart pounded as she flipped it open. Inside were legal drafts, timelines, and even a signed letter to an attorney, dated last week. Mark was planning to divorce her first, and he wasn't just leaving. He was trying to claim full control of the house, the car, even their son's college fund. He'd listed emotional instability as one of the reasons for the split. Sarah dropped the papers as if they were on fire. Her fingers trembled. Her chest ached. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. From the outside, Sarah looked like a woman deeply in love. She kissed Mark goodbye every morning, smiled at dinner parties, laughed at his dry jokes in front of friends. If anyone asked, they'd say they were the perfect couple, the kind who'd been through thick and thin and made it out stronger. But inside, Sarah was silent fire. She no longer cried. She planned. Each day, once Mark left for work, she changed. The apron came off. Her laptop came out. Her files grew thicker. Her spine grew steel. She wasn't just playing along now. She was preparing to win. First, she finished copying every financial document she could find. 401k statements, bank ledgers, credit card records, even his secret offshore account that she found on a sticky note buried in an old planner. He thought she'd never look there. He was wrong. She saved it all to a flash drive and uploaded backups to a hidden cloud account under her grandmother's maiden name. Then she started tracking his movements. Every hotel, every dinner, every business trip. She even followed his car using a GPS tracker she bought online. Cheap, discreet, effective. And what she discovered, Mark wasn't just sneaking around. He was spending. Dinners, spa days, designer bags, all for Kayla. Sarah bit her lip every time a new charge popped up on the joint account. He's spending my future on his fling. But she didn't react. Not yet. One night, while scrolling through Instagram under a fake profile she created, Emily James, a 29-year-old life coach from Florida, Sarah saw Kayla pop up in her suggested friends list. There she was, pretty, flawless, pouting in sunset selfies and posting inspirational quotes about deserving more. Sarah chuckled. "Oh, honey," she whispered. "You have no idea." She followed her, sent a DM, played friendly. "Hey, gorgeous. Just moved to the area and looking for girl tribe vibes. 2 hearts, you seem super cool." Kayla replied in under 5 minutes. "Ah, thanks. I'm Kayla. Where did you move from?" Just like that, the door opened. Over the next 2 weeks, Emily and Kayla became online BFFs. Sarah learned her favorite wine, rose, her biggest fear, being alone, and her guilty pleasure, reality TV and bubble baths. More importantly, she learned Kayla thought Mark was single. "He said he's been separated for months," Kayla typed one evening. "His wife is super toxic, controlling and emotional, always playing the victim. He says she's trying to trap him with their kid." Sarah stared at the screen, her jaw tight. He'd turned her into the villain. She's trying to trap him? Controlling? After everything I gave up for him. But again, she didn't explode. She kept smiling behind the screen. "That sounds so hard, broken heart, you must feel stuck," she replied as Emily. "And Kayla?" She spilled more and more. That weekend, Sarah threw a dinner party. She invited their neighbors, made lasagna from scratch, wore a red dress Mark always liked, laughed at his jokes, even refilled his wine. Mark soaked it up. "She's finally calming down," he whispered to a friend, not knowing Sarah heard it. Inside, she burned. but outside, she was pure grace. After dessert, she excused herself and slipped into Mark's home office. She wasn't done digging. That's when she saw it. A prescription bottle tucked behind the printer, prenatal vitamins. Not hers. She blinked, reached for the bottle, checked the name. Kayla Reynolds. Her chest tightened. She dropped the bottle like it burned. No, no, no. She raced back to her laptop and messaged Kayla. Still as Emily. You okay today? You seemed tired last night. Kayla responded with a heart emoji. Then the message came in. Yeah. Just tired from the baby stuff. Didn't expect morning sickness this early LOL. Sarah froze. Baby stuff? Her stomach turned to stone. She wasn't just the other woman. She was pregnant. Sarah stared at the screen, her heart pounding in her ears. It wasn't just betrayal now. It was permanent. A baby meant Mark wasn't just cheating, he was planning a new life, a new family. One he thought would erase the 20 years he spent with Sarah like chalk on a sidewalk. But he forgot one thing. Sarah didn't lose. Not without a fight. And now, she had Kayla's trust, Mark's lies in writing, financial evidence, and a secret weapon, herself. Sarah had always been patient. It was her greatest strength and now her most dangerous weapon. After weeks of carefully feeding Kayla the perfect friendship fantasy as Emily James, it was time to go in for the kill. Not with fists, not with shouting, with coffee. She sent a DM. Girl, we should totally meet up in person, 2 hearts. I feel like we'd vibe hard. You free this weekend? Kayla replied in minutes. Yes, let's do it. There's a cute place downtown, Bluebird Cafe. Sunday morning. Sarah smirked. Perfect. Can't wait, sparkling heart, you'll know me. I'll be the one in pink. Sunday arrived with sunlight and a quiet vengeance. Sarah chose a soft pink sweater, oversized sunglasses, and pulled her hair back into a low bun. Enough to soften her look, but not make her unrecognizable if Kayla had ever glimpsed a wedding photo. She arrived early and picked a corner booth. One that let her see the door but kept her in the shadows. Her heart pounded. Her hands were ice. 10 minutes later, Kayla walked in. Tight jeans, glossy curls, a little bump now visible under her loose cardigan. She looked like she belonged on a lifestyle blog. Pretty and soft, like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. But Sarah saw it now. The girl wasn't a villain. She was just another pawn in Mark's game. Emily? Kayla chirped, sliding into the booth with a bright smile. Sarah smiled warmly. Hi. You're even prettier in person. Kayla blushed. Stop. You're gorgeous. They ordered lattes and avocado toast. Small talk filled the first few minutes, weekend plans, skincare tips, favorite Netflix shows. But then Sarah leaned in, her tone shifting just slightly. So, can I ask you something? Totally personal. Kayla giggled. Yes. We're basically sisters now. Sarah's smile faded. Just a little. You and Mark? Is it serious? Kayla glanced around, then whispered. He said he's leaving his wife next month. Sarah blinked. Next month? Kayla nodded, eyes glowing. He's just waiting for the house stuff to clear and some legal stuff with the business. Then we'll go public. Sarah clenched her teeth behind her lips. House stuff? Legal stuff? He was setting her up. Quietly, strategically, and Kayla didn't even know it. Are you worried? Sarah asked. Like, that he might not leave her? Kayla's smile faltered. I mean, yeah, sometimes. He says she's manipulative, controlling, that she fakes crying in front of their son. But he promised me. I even met his lawyer last week. Things are moving. Sarah's stomach dropped. His lawyer? So the papers were already in play, just waiting for the right moment to crush her. Still, Sarah played her part. She reached out and gently touched Kayla's hand. You're so brave. I hope he treats you better than he treated her. Kayla nodded. He will. I'm not her. I'm calm, supportive, I get him. Sarah smiled. I'm sure you do. The moment Kayla left the cafe, Sarah's entire body sagged. She barely made it back to her car before the weight of everything hit her chest like a cinder block. Mark had built a second life behind her back, and sold her as the villain in his version of the story. And now he was weeks away from replacing her entirely. Her marriage, her money, her name. He wanted to erase her like she was just a smudge on his resume. But he forgot something. She was the one with all the proof. And now, she had Kayla's words, recorded on her phone, which had been sitting in her purse, quietly recording the entire conversation. Back home, she uploaded the file to the cloud, along with everything else. The hotel receipts, the fake texts, the offshore account screenshots, even the video of Mark yelling at her when he thought no one was watching. Elaine, her lawyer, was going to love this. She poured herself a glass of wine and sat on the couch, breathing deeply for the first time in weeks. She was winning. She could feel it. Then her phone buzzed. A text from the bank. Alert! $74,800 withdrawal from joint account ending in minus 9,845. If you did not authorize this, contact us immediately. Her wine slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. She grabbed the phone and read the message again. $74,800. Gone. Just like that. N.O. She whispered, her heart racing. She pulled up the banking app. Empty. Completely. Mark had moved first. Sarah didn't sleep that night. She sat in the dark, the cold glow of her laptop reflecting off her wine-stained pajama top. The bank account balance stared back at her like an open wound. $0. Mark had struck first, but he'd underestimated the woman he betrayed. Big mistake. By sunrise, Sarah was showered, dressed, and walking into the office of Elaine Blackwell. Divorce attorney, pitbull in heels, and Sarah's new best friend. Elaine didn't blink when Sarah laid it all out. The cheating, the financial theft, the offshore accounts, the secret baby. She just nodded and said, "Let's trap him." The first move, freeze every shared asset. That same afternoon, Sarah filed an emergency motion and had a judge sign an order freezing all joint accounts, property, and businesses. Within hours, Mark's access to their investment portfolio, business credit lines, and even the Tesla lease was locked. Next, the restraining order. Elaine filed it strategically, not just for harassment but for financial coercion and digital stalking. Sarah had the text receipts, the threats, the evidence. It would send a message. Then, the final blow for now. Sarah created a new email, encrypted, anonymous, and sent 4 neatly organized PDF attachments to a very specific recipient. IRS.gov Criminal Investigation Division. Subject: Suspected tax evasion and money laundering, Mark D. Whitman, owner of Whitman Solutions LLC. Inside the PDFs, bank records, offshore account routing numbers, fake payroll data, false expense reports, all the dirty tricks Mark used to dodge taxes and boost his quarterly reports, now in the hands of the government. Sarah hit send with a single breath and whispered, "Checkmate." 2 days passed. Sarah went about her business cool and quiet. She made pancakes for her son, went on a jog, even smiled at the neighbors. But inside, she waited. Because the moment Mark realized the money was gone, that he was trapped now, he would explode. And when he did, she needed to be ready. It happened on a Thursday. Sarah was watering the plants when she saw a sleek black BMW stop in front of her house. She didn't flinch. Mark stepped out, face red, nostrils flaring. He stormed to the front door and pounded. She didn't open it, just picked up her phone and hit record. "Open the door, Sarah. What the hell did you do?" he shouted. She calmly tapped on the window. "You're violating the restraining order," she said through the glass. His eyes widened. "You can't freeze my accounts. That money's mine." She smiled. "Ours. And you should have paid your taxes." He froze, just for a second. Then he stormed off, slamming the car door hard enough to set off his own alarm. Sarah stood still, heart pounding, but victorious. That night, she poured herself a fresh glass of wine and opened her laptop. She logged into Kayla's Instagram, still friends with Emily James. A new post, just a photo of her hand on her belly, captioned, "He promised forever. I believed him. Now I'm just scared." Broken heart. Sarah stared at it. A part of her wanted to feel smug, but another part just felt sad. Kayla was just a girl who believed the wrong man, just like Sarah had once. The next evening, as Sarah was folding laundry and humming to a true crime podcast, the doorbell rang. She wasn't expecting anyone. She peeked through the peephole, and her heart stopped. Kayla, standing on her doorstep, alone, mascara streaked down her cheeks, tears in her eyes, one hand resting on her belly. Sarah opened the door slowly. Kayla looked up. "I know who you are," she whispered. Sarah stiffened. "Kayla, I didn't come to fight," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know." Sarah blinked. Kayla took a step closer. "He told me you were crazy, that you abused him, that your son wasn't even his. And I believed him." Her voice cracked. "I'm so sorry." Sarah didn't know what shocked her more, that Kayla was standing on her porch, or that she was crying. Tears weren't what she expected from the other woman. But as Kayla sobbed, Sarah saw something she hadn't expected. A look she'd worn herself once. Betrayal. They sat at Sarah's kitchen table, 2 mugs of untouched tea between them. Kayla stared at her hands. "He told me you were cheating, that you'd emptied the accounts and tried to turn your son against him. He said he was trapped." Sarah's jaw tightened. "And you believed him?" Kayla nodded slowly. "At first. But then, things stopped adding up. He started hiding his phone, coming home later, acting like I was the problem. I caught him texting someone named Samantha at midnight last week. When I asked who it was, her voice cracked. He said I was imagining it, that I was hormonal." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. You were being paranoid and emotional?" Kayla let out a bitter laugh. "Exactly." For a long moment they just sat there. 2 women, once enemies, now bonded by a single truth. Mark had played them both. "What if I told you," Sarah said slowly, "there's a way we could destroy him together?" Kayla blinked. "What do you mean?" Sarah leaned in, her voice low and deliberate. "Next week is the 10-year anniversary party for Whitman Solutions. Mark's biggest clients, his board members, investors, they'll all be there. He's planning to give a speech, gloat about his success." Kayla nodded. "He's been practicing in the mirror like he's running for president." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "I say we give him a stage and pull the curtain on his whole act." For the next 5 days, they worked in secret. Sarah gathered evidence, financial fraud, offshore accounts, doctored investor reports. Kayla secured an invitation and access to the presentation room. They prepped a slideshow, built a timeline, rehearsed every line. And then, the night arrived. The ballroom was dripping in gold and glass. A banner read, "Whitman Solutions, a decade of integrity." Sarah nearly gagged. She watched from the back of the room as Mark took the stage in his designer suit, smiling like a game show host. "Ladies and gentlemen," he beamed, "thank you for being part of this incredible journey. 10 years ago, we started with 1 laptop and a dream." The crowd applauded. Sarah checked her watch. Right on cue, Kayla slipped backstage, plugged in the flash drive and signaled to the tech guy. "Could you cue up Mark's special video?" she asked sweetly. He nodded. "All set." Mark paused mid-sentence as the screen behind him flickered. Then it began. The first slide. The real Mark Whitman. A timeline of lies. The room went silent. Slide after slide showed evidence of offshore accounts, emails of him lying to clients, screenshots of altered reports, secret texts to multiple women, including one sent just days ago. Then, a video clip, Mark shouting at Sarah, calling her worthless, yelling that she'd never survive without him. Gasps rippled through the crowd. He turned, stunned, as the footage played behind him. "This is a joke," he stammered. "This is fake. This is all fake." But the room had already turned. The board chair stood. Mark stepped down. Immediately, security approached. Someone whispered, "The press is gonna love this." Kayla joined Sarah in the back of the room, breathless, shaking. "Did we just?" Sarah nodded. "Oh, we did." As Mark was escorted out, one of the investors stepped forward. "You'll be hearing from our lawyers. For fraud, embezzlement, and misrepresentation." Mark paled. He looked at Kayla. "You did this." Kayla folded her arms. "No, we did." He looked at Sarah next. "You won't get away with this." Sarah smiled calmly. "I already did." Later that night, Sarah and Kayla sat on a park bench near the venue, watching the stars. It was quiet, peaceful. Kayla wiped a tear away. "I never thought I'd say this, but thank you for not slamming the door in my face." Sarah looked at her. "I should hate you, but I don't. You were lied to, same as me." "Still," Kayla whispered, "if someone had done that to you, slept with your husband, could you ever forgive her?" Sarah stared ahead, thoughtful. "I don't know," she said softly, "but I can forgive the woman who helped me take him down." The gavel hit the block like a thunderclap. "Divorce granted," the judge announced. Full legal and physical custody awarded to Sarah Whitman. Primary residence, the marital home. All business and financial assets not protected by prenuptial agreement are hereby transferred to the plaintiff. Mark didn't speak, didn't blink, didn't even breathe. "Sarah?" She smiled, slow and steady. It was finally over. Outside the courthouse, the autumn wind caught her hair as she stepped onto the sidewalk, free. Kayla waited on the steps, a warm coffee in each hand. "You won," she said softly, handing one over. Sarah sipped. "We won." In 6 months, her life had unraveled, burned, and bloomed again like a phoenix. She had gone from the loyal wife living in denial to the architect of her own justice. Mark, he'd lost everything. He moved into a dingy apartment above a pawn shop. His savings were drained, his accounts seized. The IRS wanted back taxes. His name was mud in the business world. The final insult? He'd applied for a job at a local marketing firm. They sent him an offer, entry level, no benefits, reporting to Sarah, because she'd bought the company last week, using the same funds he once tried to hide from her. Her home felt different now, not because it looked new, but because it finally felt like hers. She replaced every picture, painted every room, threw out every trace of the man who once controlled her. Kayla moved in, not as a roommate, not as a romantic partner, but as a partner in purpose. Together, they started a nonprofit called Reclaim Her. It offered legal aid, housing, and emotional counseling for women blindsided by betrayal. Women like them. They spoke at events, ran workshops, became voices for those who once whispered through tears in the dark. Sarah never imagined her greatest heartbreak would become her greatest power. One afternoon, while organizing boxes for the shelter, Kayla turned to her. "You know, sometimes I think about how different things could have gone. What if I never showed up on your doorstep?" Sarah looked at her. "You did. That's what matters." Kayla nodded. "I'm not proud of how we met, but I'm proud of what we built." Sarah placed a hand on her shoulder. "We didn't just survive him, we used him, turned his betrayal into fuel." Weeks later, Sarah walked into the office of her new marketing firm, the one Mark now worked at. He sat at a desk near the back, headset on, eyes tired. She didn't gloat. She didn't smirk. She simply handed him a folder. "New client," she said briskly. Mark looked up, surprised. "You're the boss now?" Sarah tilted her head. "No, I'm your boss." She turned and walked away. That night, she stood on her back patio with Kayla, a glass of wine in one hand, warm night air brushing her cheek. Her son laughed in the background, playing video games with Kayla's younger brother. The world was quiet, peaceful, strong. "You ever think he regrets it?" Kayla asked. Sarah sipped. "Every single day." Kayla grinned. "Think we went too far?" Sarah shook her head. "No, he took everything from us." She looked out at the stars, then added, "So we took everything back, including each other."